guys, it's Kristen, and today I'm going to be talking about Netflix's new original series, She's Gotta Have It. There will be spoilers in this review, so just a warning, but let's get into it. So the show is an adaptation of the Spike Lee movie, She's Gotta Have It, that came out back in the day, and the story follows a girl named Nola Darling from Brooklyn who is very feminist and strong. She's a struggling artist, and she lives in a brownstone apartment in Brooklyn by herself, which to me already seems pretty unrealistic. And she's dating 3 different men at the same time, and all of the different men kind of bring something different to the table. There's Jamie, who's this like older man who can kind of take care of her. There's Greer, who's this model photographer, kind of narcissistic guy. And then there's Mars, who's this guy from the neighborhood. He's really goofy and fun. The story is basically following Nola dating these 3 different men and kind of being this empowered woman. What I think is really cool about the idea of the show is that it is Nola being, as she describes, a sex-positive, polyamorous, pansexual who is not into monogamy, and to me that seems like something that we haven't really seen a lot of in television at all. I think this is really great representation for other people, you know, like being able to tell other stories. You know, there are people out there who want their stories told. I felt like while the representation sounded really cool, I thought it came together in a very narrow way. It seemed to me like, oh, older gentlemen who are out of touch and don't really know what young millennial women are like today created this show. You know, like there was all these topics that were really cool, and you know, it could have been very feminist, it could have been very sex positive, it could have been very, you know, like sexually inclusive, and it was, but at the same time I felt like Nola herself was very unlikable. And not to say that all characters need to be likable, because there are plenty of characters out there who are not likable, but I think the actors find ways to make you love to hate them, and I didn't feel that way with Nola. For instance, Draco Malfoy in the Harry Potter series, Karma Ashcroft in Faking It. You know, like, these are characters that, like, they're not perfect, they're flawed, they sometimes do bad things, but you still rooted for them. At least I did. And Nola, I was just kind of the whole show thinking like, why do these guys even want to be with her? She doesn't treat them like human beings. She doesn't think about anyone but herself. I felt like she was going out of the way sometimes to make an issue just to prove a point that like, oh, these men see me this certain way, when like, I didn't think that they were doing anything like super terrible. I mean, the guy Jamie was pretty awful. I didn't like him. You know, he did some stuff that I was kind of like, why? Like, for instance, first of all, he's married and has a kid, and he's cheating on his wife with a young girl. Like, what are you doing? And the fact that we learn that he has done it before even makes it worse. The fact that he was kind of very jealous and embarrassed of being with Nola in her little black dress at one point. It's like, okay, whatever. But at the same time, it felt like Nola bought that little black dress and then like was trying to like test each guy to see like, how's he gonna react? Like, I don't know, it just seems like if you're testing people like that, then maybe you don't really care about them. There was another scene also with Jamie where he was offering to give her $10,000 for a painting of hers, and that was gonna help her pay her rent and, you know, support her art and et cetera, and the check bounced, and she calls Jamie freaking out, screaming at him, blaming him for all of her problems, when it's like, Nola, maybe you need to grow up a little bit and be mature and be able to pay your own bills and not rely on like this sugar daddy who's gonna like spend $10,000 on like a mediocre painting. I thought that there was the character of Mars and the character Greer didn't do anything wrong, you know? Like, Mars was a really nice guy. If I was her, I would have picked him. And Greer, you know, he started out a little narcissistic, but he ended up being really sweet, and so I didn't really feel like she was treating them very fairly. The end of the show, in particular, I was kind of like, what the F is going on here? Let's just talk about it, because I just thought it was like very crazy. But at the end of the show, it's Thanksgiving, and Nola is having Thanksgiving dinner at her apartment, and she invites over all 3 guys and just them to come over and have dinner with her. None of them have ever met before, so this is the first time they're meeting, and I just felt like it was very selfish of her to you know, like, I just didn't think she really cared about these guys, that you're gonna kind of be like, come to my Thanksgiving dinner, you're gonna be forced to meet all these other guys I'm sleeping with, and I don't care if you're comfortable with it or not because I don't care about your feelings. And then she unveils this painting that she created of them called the Three-Headed Monster, where it's the three of them naked, like kind of conjoined in a way. First of all, if I was even invited to that Thanksgiving dinner, I probably would have left because that's like super uncomfortable to like force people into that. And then to unveil this painting inspired by them called the Three-Headed Monster, it just seems very mean. I just thought it was very rude, and like to the fact that you're gonna call these three men that you supposedly care about like the three-headed monster, why are you even with them then? There was another character that Nola was interested in named Opal. Their relationship seemed like it was actually very good. Opal was this character who had her life together, she's a mother, she's kind of everything that Nola aspired to be, and they had a great relationship. The only issue was that like Opal was not interested in being with Nola if Nola was not going to keep her promises towards her daughter, which makes sense. But throughout the series, while we keep seeing these guys and Nola's kind of using and abusing them, the only mainstay is the way that she treats Opal, in that, you know, Opal is invited to her art show. Opal is the person that she calls when there's an issue or, you know, when she gets arrested. And she's the one that Nola says doesn't put her thoughts of what she should be on Nola, and Nola's free to be herself there. Which is like, if that's the case, then like, why is she making things so complicated with these other guys that she doesn't really actually seem to care about? Nola kept saying that these guys were putting like certain pressures or certain images on her, but it just seemed like the whole time Nola was in charge. She had all these rules, she had all these contingencies that she wanted, and maybe they could have done a better job in the script of really showing us how terrible these guys were to her, because I didn't really see it. I just kind of felt like Nola was really mean to them. I don't know if this show will get a second season. I would probably check it out if it did, just because I'm like curious to see like how long these guys will stick around. I would love to see if Nola matures and grows up a little bit more, because it just seems like, you know, she's very self-centered and focused only on herself. And I've been in a relationship like that before, where someone only was thinking about themselves and didn't really have the time or space or energy to give to you or me, and it sucked. And like, I didn't even go through nearly as much as these guys did with Nola, and I was already like, forget it, like, not interested in this. And like, I totally get like Nola's trying to be ambitious and be her own person, but I just think that there was a way that it could have been done in the script where it didn't make her so unlikable, you know? Like, I don't know, again, if it's an actress thing where like maybe she should have brought something more to the role, or if it was just like completely in the script where it was like, you know, no matter what, you weren't gonna really like Nola. At least in my opinion, I did not really like her character. Mars I thought was great, I really enjoyed him, and the best friend who like kind of was helping Nola with her art. But you know, you can even see the way that the friend helped Nola with her art. Nola is just like completely ungrateful to everyone all the time. Like, Nola had this really incredible street art campaign out in the world, and when her best friend finds out that it's her that's doing it, she like supports her and like kind of puts it out there like, oh, my friend Nola like created this incredible art. And it really gets Nola's name out there, and she is completely like pissed off. If this is one of your best works, like, why are you so mad? They're trying to help you. Overall, I just couldn't get behind She's Gotta Have It. I really did not feel Nola Darling was a likable character, and as much as there was some great feminist and sexual moments in terms of representation, I felt like it was overshadowed by the fact that Nola was just like kind of terrible. I would love to know your thoughts on She's Gotta Have It though. Do you agree with me? Do you not? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and click that subscribe button because I come out with new videos every week. See ya!